This is the Louie T Network.
In the L.A.B room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 6 in the National Football League. And I dubbed this week Statement Sunday because after watching all the games transpire and seeing what teams did, there are a lot of teams looking to make a profound statement in week 6. Hey, I'm here. I'm ready for the show. Let's go. I'm going to do this. We're going to be around this season. And one of the teams making the boldest and loudest statements in week number 6 were the Cleveland Browns, who are at home hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Second time these two teams matched up. First time in Pittsburgh, week 1, Browns down 27-3 at the half, rally back, tie the game up at 27, only to fall short with a late game field goal at 30-27 in Pittsburgh. So they're looking for a little bit of redemption from that loss, playing with a lot of confidence, now with an evened up record at 2-2 on the season. Steelers getting a win on the road last week, even though it was unimpressive, a win nonetheless versus Jacksonville. What were the Browns going to do to follow up that huge win a week ago? Let's see if they had an encore for us in week number 6. So the biggest key for me in this game for the Browns, start fast. Start fast. We've seen the Browns dig themselves holes. That game against Tennessee last week, I talked about the Steelers game in week 1. We've seen them dig themselves holes this season and have to rally back and climb out of that hole. How about you play 4 quarters of that type of football? It's been a tale of 2 halves for the Browns. First half, dead football team, not a lot of energy, not a lot of production. Second half, the direct opposite. They come out, they stymie teams defensively, they put points up on the scoreboard, they get involved in the football game. If they can do that for 4 quarters, if they can start this game fast against the Steelers could be in some trouble. So Steelers get inside the Browns' 5-yard line off the strength of a pass interference penalty on Buster Screen, but they can't get in the end zone. It's 3-0 Steelers after they tack on a field goal. That's the end of the first quarter. And I talk about this all the time. You know the mantra. You know the motto. Field goals don't win games. Touchdowns do. And so you got to find a way to get in the end zone. The Steelers have struggled to get in the end zone this season. If it's not a big play, if it's not the Steelers getting a chunk play, they've struggled when they've gotten it into the red zone, in the nitty-gritty. When they have gotten to the 5, the 7, the 9-yard line, they've struggled to get in the end zone this season. And it's been feast or famine for this Steelers team this season. Either they're really revving it up and getting in the end zone, or they're just struggling. We've seen it against the Ravens. We saw it against Jacksonville. Even though they won last week, the offense only provided them with 10 points. It was a pick 6 that really put that game out of reach for the Jaguars and gave them their 17th point of the game. They only scored 10 points last week offensively. This is a team that struggles to score points unless they're getting chunk plays. And so if the Browns can stop them from getting chunk plays and getting into the end zone, this is a Steelers team that struggles to score touchdowns. And you saw that on that possession. It's 3-0 as we head to the second quarter. Steelers squander a golden opportunity to put another field goal on the board. And I talk about field goals all the time. And I talk about how field goals don't win games. But field goals are better than nothing. I mean, it's a simple equation. Touchdowns are better than field goals. Field goals are better than nothing. So even though I talk about field goals not winning games because you want to get 7s, again, you got to get something when something is there to be got. And so if you're in field goal range, you need to put those 3 points on the board. It helps your offense realize that, hey, if we can just move the football down the field and get something. If we get in the field goal range, our kicker will put it through. It'll give the defense a little bit of momentum. All right, we got more of a lead to work with. Or we just put some points on the board. Let's get the offense back to football so they can put more points on the board. Everybody's invigorated when points are scored. And if you miss, it's an even more deflating blow to everybody. The offense, the defense, everybody's put in a compromising situation because now the defense has to come on the field and they're already giving up field position because of the missed field goal. You don't get points, so the offense is a little let down and deflated because they drove the football down the field, got in the field goal range and didn't get any points. So it's huge getting points, and the Steelers botched the field goal process as the holder could not corral the football. Brad Wing couldn't get the football corralled, tried to get it down, but it was wobbly, and the kicker, Sean Sweezum, holds up. He pulls up on that field goal, doesn't kick it, and so the Browns are able to tackle Brad Wing as he picks the football up, can't get rid of it, and they take over in great field position. And the Browns, I thought this was the turning point of the game, because up until then, the Browns had done nothing on the offensive side of football. And even though the Steelers hadn't scored a lot of points, they were moving the football. This was their second trip inside the Browns' 30-yard line, inside the Browns' 20-yard line for that matter. So they were moving the football with the Steelers. All of that came to a screeching halt after they botched this field goal process. And now the Browns, they took over in this game for good, as the Browns make them pay for that mistake with a 5-yard Isaiah Crowell touchdown. And that was set up by a huge 46-yard J.C. Money. J.C. Money Jordan Cameron catch. Got down inside the Steelers 10-yard line, sets up that Isaiah Crowell 5-yard touchdown. It's 7-3 Browns in this game. And I've been looking for J.C. Money, Jordan Cameron, all season long. It didn't feel like he'd had that breakout game yet that I was expecting from him. And this was his game right here. He came out in a major way. And I thought the Browns' passing game was huge in this game. And they didn't have a lot of completions, but the ones that they did have were huge chunk plays in the offense. And so that was the first of many chunk plays for Billy Ho and his passing attack of the Cleveland Browns. 7-3 Browns up in this football game. J.C. Money exploiting the Steelers defense once again. And this time he goes all the way, goes the distance, 51-yard touchdown. Billy Ho to J.C. Money, Jordan Cameron into the end zone. And this was really nothing fancy here, just a simple post route by Jordan Cameron. And the corner play with outside leverage, outside technique, expecting help to the inside. Troy Polamalu was preoccupied with the other tight end, dragging across the field, never got back into his zone where he was supposed to be. Easy touchdown. Great throw by Billy Ho to lead him up the field to allow him to catch it and get into the end zone. It's 14-3. Browns up in this football game. Browns continuing to dominate the game after the botched field goal. As the Steelers offensively can't get into a rhythm, the defense is harassing Ben Roethlisberger, not giving up on the ground to neither Blunt or Bell. And so the Steelers are being really stymied offensively by the Browns defense, and the Browns offense taking full advantage of every single possession in this second quarter as they get in the end zone on a Ben Tate 8-yard touchdown run to cap off an 11-play, 85-yard drive. You see the Steelers starting to wear down defensively because of all the times they've had to get on the field in the second quarter. Offense not sustaining any possessions. They're not moving the sticks. They're not giving the defense a breather. And this defense giving up chunk plays. Now they're finally starting to be worn down. And now they gave up a lengthy drive right before the half. It's now 21-3 as the Browns are dominating in this football game. Now, at this point, after the half, I said to myself, if the Steelers don't show me anything early third quarter and the Browns are able to get more points, I'm going to stop taking notes. I wanted to stop taking notes, and that's exactly what happened. As Billy Cundiff knocks home, Billy Cundiff barely squeezes one in the uprights. And I thought he was about to miss, and that would have been a huge miss, but he makes it 24-3 in the game. And that was on the heels of a Jim Dre huge play to get them into field goal range. And one thing I love about Kyle Shanahan, and when he calls an offense, he loves to use bootlegs to the opposite side of the field and then a throwback pass. And so essentially you roll the quarterback out, sprint him out to the outside of the pocket, then he stops, plants, sets his feet, and goes back to the opposite side of the field, which is what he did on this particular play to Jim Dre. And it worked all day long for this Browns team. They did it on a number of occasions, and it worked just about every single time. And so the Browns were able to gash the Steelers with chunk plays, whether it was J.C. Money, whether it was Jim Dre, Miles Austin, Gabriel. It didn't matter. Everybody was getting involved, and there were chunk plays being gained by this Browns offense. And so now it's 24-3. At this point, I want to stop. I want to stop taking notes because I feel like the Browns have this game well in hand, but it's the Browns. And when you're used to a team being traditionally bad, you expect something bad to happen. And the Browns have been in so many close games this season. You expect, I was waiting for the bottom to drop out in this game. I was waiting for the Browns to have some kind of catastrophic turnover that turned the tide in the game and the Steelers made it close. Not necessarily come back and win per se, but just making a close ball game and didn't see the Browns cruise to a victory the way that they should have because they dominated this game that way. I thought that somehow, some way, the Steelers would run off 17 unanswered points, and this would end up being a 24-20 game at some point. Never happened. As the Browns say, hey, we're not those dudes anymore. We're a different team now. This is a different Browns football team, and I think it all starts with head coach Mike Patton. This is a different Browns football team, and they destroyed the Steelers in this game. And just for good measure, pass tipped at the line of scrimmage, goes up into the air. It's picked off by Buster Screen. That ends the third quarter with the Browns in great field position, threatening for more points, and that they did as they get into the end zone on a Ben Tate 1-yard rushing touchdown. Go ahead and hammer that nail in the coffin as the Cleveland Browns dismantle the Pittsburgh Steelers at home 31-10. Great win for the Browns. They made a huge statement in Statement Sunday, and that statement simply was, this is a 4-team race in the AFC North. No longer is it a 3-team race between the Steelers, Bengals, and Ravens. Hey, go ahead and put our name in the hat. We're in this division too, and we're competing not just to make the postseason, not just to be a relevant team in this division. We're competing to try to win this division. That's a lofty statement that was heard loud and clear around the National Football League. And again, I don't know what to make of this Pittsburgh Steelers team. I've talked about them playing down to the level of their competition. Well, this was a good football team they were playing against in the Cleveland Browns. So they needed to elevate their level of competition, and they just never did in this game. And I'm starting to worry, is this Steelers team really any good? I don't know because it's hard to really put your finger on what's the problem in Pittsburgh. This defense is young. This offense, yeah, they're young as well, but you still feel like there's enough talent here for them to do something. I know one thing's for sure. Antonio Brown needs help. He needs someone to step up across from him. Lance Moore, somebody's got to step up, okay? Wheaton, somebody's got to step up. They're trying Justin Brown out there as well. Somebody's got to step up and be that other guy because Tones can't do it by himself. Heath Miller can't do it by himself. They need help, and they got to be able to run the football with Le'Veon Bell and LeGarrette Blount, and they need to run it effectively. And sometimes I think they go away from the run too much, and you know how it is with these pass-happy coordinators. They get away from the run, and by the time they realize we should have stuck with the run, it's too late. And so the Steelers, they need to come up with an identity. There used to be an identity in the past. We're going to bludgeon you to death with the running game, play solid, strong defense, generate turnovers, and win the football game. The Steelers have no identity right now. Are they going to run the football? Is Ben going to chuck it 37 times? You have no clue from week to week. Is this defense going to stand up and stop the other team from putting up 31 points, putting up 27 points? Or are the Steelers going to be dominated in every facet of the game? You don't know right now with the Steelers team from week to week, and that's the problem. And that's why they're a 3-3 football team. They're an average football team, and so you get an average record. This is a tough loss to swallow if you're the Steelers because where do you go from here? And at this point now, I'm questioning Mike Tomlin, and I've never done that before, but I'm questioning Mike Tomlin as to whether he has a good pulse of this football team or not. But it's more about the Browns here on Statement Sunday than it is the Steelers. The Browns are now 3-2. They're now right in the thick of things in the AFC North, and this is a dangerous Browns team because now they're playing with confidence. They're getting pressure on the quarterback. They had a couple of injuries in this game, however, none bigger than center Alex Mack going down, and he's gone for the season. And you could see the admiration and respect that the players had for him as he was on the cart. I think just about every single Browns player came and said their farewell to their fallen compadre on the field. And you rarely see that. You might see 5 or 6 guys come over and tell them, hey, man, hey, we're going to get this one for you. Hey, man, sorry about that, man. Hey, man, praying for you. You'll get 5, maybe 7 guys with it. I saw the entire Browns sideline empty and come out. and give their respects to Alex Mack, so you know what kind of a leader and respect that he commands in that locker room. But nonetheless, Browns get it done, 31-10 in dominating fashion. Hey, look out for the Cleveland Browns. They made a statement on Statement Sunday. That's going to do it for Browns Steelers here in week number 6 in the lab room. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me, as I've got plenty more games to break down in week number 6 in the National Football League. Like the content? Want more? Sub up.